Sure.
Okay, sir. So, with your permission, should I start?
Yeah, you can.
Nizam. Okay, thank you.
You can. I thought you were asking out. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, good evening, one and all here. Welcome to Authors Interaction. I'm Neil Raka, working as head of events at Russell of Book Club. The Russell of Book Club is a brainchild of Rahul Suri, a 19-year-old alumni at Shivnadar School, and he is pursuing his BA first year at Surbharti University. His initiative has allowed for the integration of people from various walks of life who have one thing in common: their passion for reading. Books reach the mind and the heart, allow for empathy, and sensitivity allows for connection. In today's uncertainty, the narration of stories allows us to build resilience and feel less alone in the obstacles we face. I would like to welcome today's guest, Nizam Harris, who is a copywriter and MA English with Communication Studies student at Christ University, Bangalore. His writings have been published in The Hindu, The News Minutes, Indian Folk, and several other online platforms. Nizam Harris focuses on applying diverse tools of literature in his experimental writings, experimental writings, trying to bring forth another piece in contemporary literature. Nizam is a conversationalist, passionate traveler, and photographer. Wo- okay, sir. So we'll start with your questions. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and taking your time. How would your peers describe you?
Weird, awkward, eccentric. That's pretty much it, actually. No, that's it.
Before moving ahead, I would like to tell something about Sir's books. Uh, the stories in Rum are meant to riddle your mind, seeking for logic and reason. Characters ranging from the crazy barber to the butcher who cut in his sleep. The themes here are a mirror on society with a note of mockery. Rooted in absurdism and magical realism, the stories here are ambiguous enough to make many points, leaving the interpretation to you. So, with the second question, I'm sure the transition from a university student into a writer would come along with many roadblocks. How you combat all those hurdles, and what inspires you to continue juggling between the two professions?
First thing, being a writer is not a profession, it's a passion. And I don't think I went through many hardships and hustles and all. I started working on my book back in UG, and after that I took a gap year. I was traveling and all. So during that time frame, I got a publisher, and then the whole COVID thing happened. So it was fine. It just happened with the book. That's it. There was no hardship and all.
Okay. Third question. When did you realize? When did you first realize you want to be a writer? This is my favorite question.
When I was like 7, 8 years old. I'm a literature student, right? So I used to read a lot. I used to read mostly Malayalam works and then English, everything. And then I used to tell my parents that I want to become a writer, but they never took the profession seriously. I mean, they never took the passion seriously, but I kept on writing poetry, blah, 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 blah. But then I went into journalism and also I got my articles published in Hindu, and then they started taking it seriously. And what happened? And then, yeah, it just happened. Like, I was always writing. Even now, even the first book, after getting that published, I'm still working on like other projects. So writing is a thing, and it's just happening. It's flowing in the background.
So you mentioned about your first book. Can you tell something more about the same?
So Rum is a collection of highly weird and eccentric stories. So as a literature student, I'm too much into the idea of absurdism. Absurdism is like the world is chaos, and it doesn't make sense, but you get used to the senselessness of the world. So the characters and Ram, all of them, they are like from a parallel dimension. I mean, they are the ones who are existing right beside you, but put them in a parallel dimension. There is a character called a butcher who kills his wife, whom he loves so much, without any reason, with just a slit in the throat. And when he does that, he kisses her too. Or there is another character, a fish, and that fish talks from its plate. And then the protagonist is looking for who killed the fishes. And he is talking to the dead fish and then going on a journey to understand who killed the fishes. Or there is another story in which a man's penis is growing in size and he becomes a god. And yeah, it becomes a mono penis heaven, and then the whole world is in chaos, stuff like that. So it's like all the stories are rooted in absurdism with a pint of magical realism here and there. So I love both those ideas so much, and then I ingrained it into my stories. And as a result, the final story, it's just something that's different from normally what you read. If you have ever read Marcus short stories, it's a kind, but more direct and more short. That's it.
The description shows that you are a imaginator beyond words. Like
Just,
who thinks
just
like
normal writer.
okay. What would you say in your interesting writing work?
What would I say in my
Interesting writing work.
like? How can
Uh,
you explain that?
about your future writing or about your goals in the as an author.
Oh, okay. So I'm a bilingual author. I write in both Malayalam and English. The first work I just wrote in English. I'm working on a second one in Malayalam. Then, other than that, yeah, I'm not quitting. So I'll keep on writing till I make it big. It's simple. And the book so far around, for me, it was just a test piece. I was just trying out the publishing industry, how it works, and all that. And for that, the book is actually getting. So, I mean, I didn't expect that great reviews at all. So the book so far is getting great reviews, and like I'm talking to popular authors and all, and they have like. I was talking to this award-winning author called Anis Salim, and he agreed to read it and review it. So the work is getting good recognition. Actually, like it's happening really slow, but it's happening. And now I'm gonna focus on the next work while marketing the first one. That's it.
Sir, any suggestions from you to young authors?
Nothing much. If you're really into writing, keep on writing. Never quit. And please don't go for the usual stereotypes: boy meeting girl and then falling in love, blah blah. That's boring.
Okay, sir, this is my personal question.
Yeah.
You seem to be a great writer, sorry, or a great reader, a passionate reader. So can you please recommend some of the books? Like
I think you should read Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He's my favorite author. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I'll put it in the chat box. Okay. One second. Chat. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Then Orhan Pamuk. Both are Nobel Prize winning authors. Then Albert Camus. Albert Camus is he's one of the founders of absurdism, the philosophy. So other than that, I like 20th century authors. If you're into poetry, try T.S. Eliot. I would recommend Wasteland and the Love Song of Alfred. Oh, J. Alfred. I'm sorry for feeling tired. I have a fever, so it's like recovering from that slowly. Yeah, that's try going through any of the authors. If you're going for Marcus, go for the short stories. Okay.
sir, can you tell about your interest in various things other than writing?
I love motorcycles. I like to go for long rides. I love traveling. So during my gap year, I was in Vietnam teaching the students there. Then I've covered like 3-4 countries by now. That's minimal, but yeah. Then traveling, motorcycles. Then I'm into guitar. So that just started. I happened like recently, the last 1 year. I'm learning that too. I'm learning spoken word poetry. Then I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I have a a digital solutions company called Beetroot. Uh, so Beetroot, we make websites, graphical designing, content copy, motion graphical videos, all that. It just started happening in the last 6 months and it's slowly picking up. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I love to talk.
Sir, you seem actually to be very ill today. So
Yeah,
not
I'm a bit
taking
sick.
more time. I'll ask you last question from my side.
Yeah.
Like, um, what about poetry from your side?
Poetry, I write poetry, but my poetry is extremely explicit and it's a kind of poetry that's hard hitting. So it's like again, I don't believe that poetry has to follow a structure. I'm a literature student, right? So the history of literature is the history of breaking structures in writing. And in every age, there is a particular structure, and in the next stage, they broke it. So if you look at Romanticism, which was a big thing in the 18th century, I mean, right after Victorian era, it was a thing where people used to talk about their feelings and blah blah, all that. And right after that, Eliot came with Prufrock and Wasteland, and Wasteland actually again broke the entire idea of going for I mean, talking about feelings, and then poetry was more of like representing the fragmented world. So for me, poetry is like it's like a needle in which you can prick people, and it feels good when you do it. So my kind of poetry is like I recently wrote a poetry on a man masturbating, and then it's the action and what he is thinking while doing it, while finally he gets his orgasm. And the background I'm from, my father is like he used to be a literature professor, so I send the kind of stuff that I write to him. It's fun. Everything is fun.
Sir, you seem to be a very daredevil type of person to
Eh,
write poems on such topics and sending it to your parents.
It's
Like,
fun. It's just have to explore their limits. So in my book, I've written in the acknowledgement part, I've thanked my parents like fourth or fifth, and the line is that for not restricting the kind of art that I do. And it's the whole reason this whole book came out, because it's unrestricted. I told you, right? There is a story in which a man's penis is growing in size. He becomes a god, and the god decides to cut off other people's penises. And then they're like, it's way too extreme. So it's you see the limits, how much people can take. That's it.
sir, I am seeing the limits that how much people can think beyond the word. Like, I'm really very inspired. So I'll try to think about that as well. Thank you for your time, sir. I'll ask Rahul Suri sir to say some words before. Rahul sir. Hello, Rahul sir.